Hello, my name is James Ribnack, and I am a full-stack software engineer. Today, I would like to present to you a personal project that I've been working on in my free time. Strava Report Generator was an application that I first worked on during my Hack Reactor Advanced Software Engineering Immersive in 2020. Initially, just create a solution of a thing that does a thing. I recently updated the front end, back end, and infrastructure, and the tech stack now consists of the front end using React Redux with Next.js and TypeScript, the back end being written in Python and interfacing directly with the Strava API as a single source of truth. And finally, this is all hosted on AWS ECS Fargate on a spot instance to lower cost. I also use DynamoDB as a caching layer to reduce calls to the Strava API, as there is a conservative rate limit involved with that API. The CI/CD pipeline includes automated Jest unit testing and coverage reports and leverages GitHub Actions as a runner. So about the app. The main function of Strava Report Generator is to showcase an athlete's Strava activities in order of various ranking metrics, for example, and notably including speed over distance and most recent. For competitive athletes or just people like me who feel competitive often, this is an invaluable observability asset because the native Strava application only displays the athlete's top activity at a given distance. Particularly, what I personally enjoy about SRG is how expressive and intuitive the filtering can be. A user can, for example, see all runs over 10K, and we'll set the date filter for 2020. That's the year 2020. And we can expect to see them in the chosen order of speed, date, moving time, or time elapsed. So we'll keep it as fast as first. And we can see that these are the runs over 10K that I did in 2020. There's 7 entries per page. The last page just has one, so I effectively did 29 runs over 10K. And we can look and we can see that, for example, the average pace on this first one is 12.58 kilometers per hour. The second one is 12.49 kilometers per hour, and it goes down from there, 12.37, 12.14, 11.87, 11.83. So that's how they're ranked. That's the fastest first. If instead we look at date most recent, this is again within 2020, runs over 10K. We can see that the most recent is 8/23/2020, and then 8/21, 8/18, 8/16. So these are the various ranking metrics I mentioned. The final thing that I wanted to mention about these filters is that you can also filter by the title. So within Strava, the default title that gives a morning run is morning run. So we'll put in morning run here, and we can see that I didn't change the title of 3 of these runs. There's a morning run on 8/23, 7/26, and then 5/4. We're still ranked by most recent, but if we do fastest first, it's the same, I guess. But the speed goes down from the first one. And we can see that we can filter by the title as well. So still looking at runs. An additional feature pertaining to activities includes being able to edit the activity name and description, and that this data is transmitted back to Strava, where the actual activity is also edited and saved. So for example, I can look at my swims, and we'll look at swims from 2024, January 1st, and then 2024, January today. And we'll see that I've done 3 swims so far this year. And I can edit both the name and the description. So this is the detailed entry. And we can see that I have an existing activity description. And by just clicking on the activity, I can start editing the description of it. So felt good in the water today, stroke was smooth and good vibes with the team, would recommend and also return. So I can click out of that. That should be updated. Now I can click on the title and remove these exclamation points. So there's 4 exclamation points. I removed them. Morning swim at East Boulder Community Center. And close that. Now, if I go to Strava and go to my profile, I can look at the swim from last week. You can see that morning swim at EBCC, there's no bangs at the end. Would recommend it also return. So now I'll remove this and close out. And then if I refresh this, goodbyes with the team, it ends. There is no would recommend and return, though I certainly would because I love swimming with Boulder Aquatic Masters. So, and additionally, to being able to edit the activity name and description, we can see the gear that was used, and we can look at kudos. Who gave me kudos? That's a Strava feature that they particularly like. There's also a heart rate graph. This is a new feature with this iteration of Strava Report Generator, where we can see the average heart rate, for example, over the distance that was swam, but we can also see the max heart rate. We can remove average heart rate and see a little bit more of a detailed view of the max heart rate, and we can see them both, so at the same time. And then we can close that. And for achievement account, I don't usually get achievements in swimming because I swim sets, but if I were to swim a straight distance, I'm sure that it would give me achievements. But if I go to 2020 and we look at the runs again, so 2020, December 31st, we'll look at the runs again, and we can see that this no stroke all stride that I mentioned before had an achievement count of 7. So this references back to Strava's tracking of single event milestones, such as the best time over a distance. So this was obviously a very good run for me because I had 7 different achievements. For example, like maybe a kilometer, 3K, 5K, and 10K were all my best times, for example. And then if there was a picture that was loaded, I also show it in the Strava Report Generator UI. So you can see there's the photo of me feeling pretty good after my run. Okay, a couple other features. Like I said, it's paginated. You can go back and look at any of these activities. And there's a picture of me again, not the best picture. But and then also we have the year-to-date run totals. This is a feature that I want to iterate on a little bit more because it's kind of a bad look when the year is just starting to see that you've done 3 activities and you haven't done anything for the rest of the year. So I thought it'd be cool maybe if maybe under 3 months we show the weekly activities, and then build out from there. If it's over 3 months, show the yearly activities, and maybe only up to that particular month, for example. But for example, this shows the count, and you can also go by distance. So I've swam about almost 5,000 yards so far this year. And I believe if I change this, let's see, miles. If I change it to swimming, yards, okay, it doesn't change up here, but it should. So the final thing I want to talk about is the user preferences. So this is another new feature within Strava Report Generator. So right now, I have the default sport set as swimming. The default sort, and this can be swimming, running, cycling, walking, this can be any of those options, and then the default date, all time, this year, this month, this week. And then there's also dark mode. I can change this to be most recent and change the default date to this year. We'll keep dark mode off for now because I want to show that in a minute. And if we apply that and we refresh the page, we can see that swimming is the default sport. The default time is from this year. And what was the final thing? Oh, most recent. The date is most recent. So again, these are these 3 activities these 3 swims I did this year, and we can see that they're still ranked. If I change this again to this month, it'll be the same because it's still the first of the month. But if it was February, it would show 2-1 instead of 1-1 from that month. And so The user preferences are a new feature. They're persisted again between refreshes, and in particular, I've also introduced the dark mode. So if I apply this, we can see that there's a bit of a different feel and look to the UI that maybe causes less strain on the UI and looks a little bit more like Batman or something like that. Still working on this. I'm definitely not a UI or UX designer, but still trying to get the feel of this. This is done with MUI, which is Material Interface Theme Provider, and so that the light mode and dark mode have different themes. And then finally, one thing that I was very sensitive about when designing this app, and still am, frankly, is that I'm caching users' data in my DynamoDB database. So as a assuagement to that, I have created this danger zone where the user can destroy all their saved and cached user information. So this is a note here. This will destroy all saved user information, including cached activities, API tokens, and user profile and settings. This may take some time, but when completed, you will be redirected to the auth page. Would you like to continue? So basically, any data that I stored about the user in my DynamoDB database will be deleted, and settings will be reset completely. The app will have no idea about who this user is. So I'll do yes, continue. And so, for example, I have about 700 activities cached for myself. And I figured out that the amount of time it takes to delete one activity, it takes my API to delete one activity from the DynamoDB database is about 100 milliseconds. So one thing that I was able to do was I was able to calculate on the front end, based on the number of activities, how long it would take to delete all the activities. And so this progress bar that I have is taking the number of activities over 100, I guess, and it's incrementing it based on that 100 millisecond time frame for deleting one activity. It takes about a minute and 15 seconds, honestly. So this was a cool thing that I was able to do with the progress bar. The fetching of data when I do the progress bar goes so fast that it wasn't really necessary to have this, but I wanted the progress bar to be accurate as I could for the deleting of the activities, as it does take some time. And waiting at 95, as it'll stop at 95 for a minute and 15 seconds is anxiety ridden. So we can see that it's about to close out. Give it a few seconds. And it's deleted all information about my user. And it's kicked me back to the authorization page. So this is an OAuth feature. This is required for the app to work. Basically, I'm using the Strava API extensively for my application and getting data from Strava. So this is an OAuth 2.0 flow. I'm logged into Strava on my device, and so it knows who I am. If I authorize, we'll return to the UI, and you can see that the user preferences are default, running, speed fastest first, all time, dark mode is not applied, and there are no activities that are shown because no activities are cached in my database. If I click update, it takes about 7 seconds or so. This is the one that just fetches all the data from Strava and uploads it to my database and caches it there. And then it returns those activities. Here we are with all my runs from all time, all my swims from all time. I haven't worked on the cycling feature yet, but also all the walks from all time as well. So all the activities are there. So I'm really proud to finally present this product or this application to the world. It's something that, again, with the data caching, I've been sensitive about, but I think that this is finally reaching more of a mature phase, at least to move out of a soft launch, which I would currently consider it to be in, into more of a production, fully fleshed product where users can assume that their data will be persisted and not manipulated, and that using DynamoDB will be a trusted source for caching their data. So I'm really excited to finally present this product, like I said, and thank you so much for your time and hearing my presentation on it.